You know, Honorable, I'm also thinking that you definitely mean well. You're trying to cure an ill. That's what you say you're trying to do.
Yes.
But considering the kind of reaction, I mean, what the response of your colleagues might be very different from the reaction of the population of general Nigerians. And it would seem that in many quarters, a lot of people have said, no, this bill cannot stand. In fact, some people have begun to impute some other ulterior motives into this, you know, and considering the fact that, you know, this has implication for national unity, you still don't think that you should have discussed with some other people before you came up with the proposal?
I told you the processes of making law. I have discussed with my own people that I represent before I bring it here. It is now left for me, if given the opportunity, to discuss with Nigerians generally. Because that's when we get to the third hearing of the bill, and then Nigerians will come for public hearing, and they may even offer alternative views which may find their way into this bill. It is not a watertight, airtight thing. It's a proposal.
Have you seen some of the reactions? Let's, for instance, take the reaction that happened on the floor of the Senate. I was reading the reaction of Senator Abaribe, who was talking about the concerns of his own constituents, who called him to talk about a bill in the Senate because he thought this bill was in the Senate. And the Senate has had to come out categorically to say, no, there is no such bill in the Senate. I mean, look at that reaction, for instance. How do you think that helps the life of this bill in the National Assembly?
No, I am not. My bill is not a do or die affair, but the history of Nigeria must be written. And if the history of Nigeria is written, the history of the National Assembly of Nigeria must be written. And I would like to be remembered in that history as somebody who proposed a solution that will work for us in the next 1,000 years, but failed. But failed to make Nigerians understand that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step.
Honorable, you've spoken now about this. In fact, many watching perhaps may have heard you for the first time saying, look, these people who carry out this act are not Nigerians, they're not Nigerian Fulani men. We've heard the governor of Kaduna State, Madam Nasser El-Rufai, speak about this, saying, look, something needs to be done. But are other Fulani speaking up loudly, the leadership now, saying, look, something needs to be drastically done about this?
Yes. Yeah. Everybody is saying, look, let me tell you, I told you we're afraid of these people too. They kill us. In Malabu and Faran, I told you in my own constituency in Adamawa State, I lost several number of people. In Shigari, I saw them. People called me in the night to say they have just passed this village with AK-47. And if we look at them very well, they don't even look Nigerian.
Have you sought audience with the president about this matter?
No, I have not sought audience with the president on the matter. No, I have not.
You don't think if he speaks up on this, it might work better for us?
If I speak for it?
No, if the president speaks up on this.
You may ask him. I'm not the president of Nigeria.
No, don't you think, I'm not saying it should, I'm saying it's a thinking from you. Do you think if he does speak up against this quickly and swiftly too, it just might nip it in the bud?
Well, I'm not his political advisor, and I don't want to think for the president. Let him think for himself.
And for the Mieti Allah group, what are they doing?
The Mieti Allah group are in agreement with what I'm saying. That they need a right.
Because I'm asking that question because it doesn't look good, as so many Nigerians are saying the president, whom they love so much, is a Fulani man, and if they're getting some kind of silence from the presidency, is something that really doesn't help them.
Well, but I think the minister of agriculture is part of the executive. I think Adogbe has been everywhere. He has spoken for this. His main thrust is, look, we are even losing money. Nigeria can export milk, and we all know the function of milk in a human body. Intelligence of a child. We are losing human resources by allowing our animals to wander. My brother, if you go to Europe and America, you eat meat, you don't use a toothpick. If you eat Nigerian meat, you must use a toothpick. Nigerians are losing their teeth for allowing these animals to go 1,000 kilometers and grow muscles. By the time you eat, the meat is already hard. Compared to an animal that you keep for 90 days. If you keep a cow for 90 days in an enclosure, by the time you slaughter the meat, I'm telling you, it's soft.
Is the House, Sir Chamberlain, is the House also thinking of inviting those who are supposed to man our borders? Because we also understand that after the crisis in some other countries, like even Libya specifically, has seen that so many light arms have moved into the hands of some of these people whom you say are non-Nigerians coming in here to kill people. Do you think that we should now be talking about adequate security by inviting some of these people who should be manning our borders to ask them some questions? If we say we can't man our borders, it seems as if we're just having our hands up in the air without doing anything. There must be something done.
Yes, it's like saying that we're helpless. Because if you travel across the border, my village is a stone's throw to Cameroon. If I stand in the night, I watch a village in Cameroon that has electricity 24/7. I don't have electricity in Adamawa State, anywhere in Nigeria. You see, these people, we speak the same language. We have the same religion. And some of our people go to Cameroon to school in their primary schools. And Cameroonians come to Nigeria to school in their primary schools because that border is not policed. We don't even have the personnel to police our borders. It's porous. Climate change is a very, very important factor in this issue. The desertification of the Central Sahara is still continuing. Nigeria is losing land every year to deserts. For the first time in my life, when I went to Yobe just before the Boko Haram, I saw a sand dune. Yeah, what I've been seeing in geography textbooks, I saw a sand dune big enough, more than this house. And it is threatening to bury the village under. Those villagers have to move. If you go to Yobe, Daura, and some northernmost part of this country, if you see the distances people travel to fetch water, to bath, to drink, to perform ablution, to pray, and to wash cloth, they cannot stay. They can no longer stay there. They have to move down south. My fear is that in the next century, the whole of West Africa perhaps will fight a war over water, drinking water. River Benue has silted. We need to desilt that river. Each time it rains, we lose the whole of my territory. My own constituency is the first that will be hit by the Lagdo Dam if they release. I've spoken about this in Adamawa State Assembly for 8 years. And I've spoken about it in this House of Reps that I've been here for 11 months. I've spoken about it 3 times.
And nothing has been done.
And nothing has been done. And I thought this year's budget will capture that incident. I am telling you, the more we allow this thing to continue, the more people from the northern part of the country move to the southern part of the country. And as you rightly pointed out, the land is smaller as you move further down south. And the population gets bigger. The real problem that Nigeria will face, we need to do the grazing reserves to hold the movement. For us to create wealth there, build dams there, build roads there, build markets, build churches and mosques, build veterinary clinics inside there to prevent people from moving. Because you can plant a tree in a desert. The Minister of Agriculture, I heard him say that the biggest the biggest grazing reserve in the world is in Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is a desert. It is housing over 850,000 cattle. And Saudi Arabia is a net exporter of milk. Why don't you do that here?
But have you compared notes with other African countries where we also have maybe the Maasai group, several groups also engaged in grazing, and some of them are...
Maasai have been completely domesticated in Kenya. Completely domesticated. I told you, culture is dynamic. If you are a nomadic full animal and you tell me it is your culture to follow animals about, I will tell you that your culture needs to change. Cultures have changed. There were areas in this country where if you visit, your host will give you his wife to sleep with. In the past, is it there anymore? Cultures are dynamic. Some of our people were moving naked in 100 years ago. Who moves naked in Nigeria now? Even the Koma in Jada local government of my own state do not go naked anymore because their cultures have changed. You cannot tell me that this transhumance culture of following animals about cannot change. It can change.
So now that we have...
It's the will to change it that we don't have.
Now that we have 3 versions of this bill, including yours. What is the next stage? What is happening now?
No, the House have consolidated the bills. We've passed a resolution consolidating the 3 bills. To consolidate them, you need to look at what is good in this one and what is wrong in this one. And the rules on business, our rules and business committee are working on that one. Perhaps, if the tension that we all know subsides, we can bring it up. But this country is tensed up over this issue. I, for one, cannot face somebody from Enugu now and tell him that I want a grazing reserve in Enugu. He is fresh. Blood is flowing there. Allegedly perpetrated by these people who I said are not Nigerians. I cannot begin to talk about ranch in Enugu today. No, would I go to Agatu and tell them to give me a land to do grazing reserve? I said this thing has to be gradual. And the earlier we started, the better. Otherwise, we are sitting not on a keg of gunpowder. In fact, we are sitting on a bomb.
Well, Honorable Sadiq Ibrahim is a member of the House of Reps representing Adamawa State in APC. He moved the motion, he sponsored the bill for an act to establish grazing reserve in each of the states of the Federation of Nigeria to improve agricultural yield from livestock farming and curb incessant conflicts between cattle farmers and crop farmers in Nigeria and for related matters. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
We'll be back in just a moment. Join us again.